Gene Hackman, the legendary actor known for his unforgettable performances in The French Connection and Superman, spent decades in the limelight while fiercely guarding his personal life. Despite his fame, he maintained a quiet lifestyle with his wife, classical pianist Betsy Arakawa, and their beloved pets. But on February 26th, tragedy struck. The couple and one of their dogs were found dead in their Santa Fe Summit home. Hackman was 95. The shocking discovery was made after a concerned neighbor called emergency services. Inside the home, authorities also found one of the couple's 3 dogs dead, while the other 2 were still alive. On Thursday, Leslie, one of Gene's 3 children, told DailyMail.com that the family is anxiously waiting for answers from law enforcement regarding the cause of death. So far, there is no confirmed explanation, but Leslie and her sister, Elizabeth Gene Hackman, believe their father and stepmother may have fallen victim to toxic fumes from a possible carbon monoxide leak. It is with great sadness that we announce the passing of our father, Gene Hackman, and his wife, Betsy. He was loved and admired by millions around the world for his brilliant acting career, but to us, he was always just Dad and Grandpa. We will miss him sorely and are devastated by the loss. We're still trying to process everything, Leslie, 58, shared. There was absolutely no sign that anything was wrong with my father before this happened. Despite his age, he was in excellent physical condition. She went on to reveal that Gene had not undergone any major surgeries in recent months and was actively taking care of his health. He loved doing Pilates and yoga several times a week, she explained. He was still keeping up with his routine, so this is just incredibly unexpected. Since she lives in California, Leslie revealed that it had been a few months since she last saw or even spoke to her father. We were close, she said. I hadn't talked to them for a couple of months, but everything seemed normal. Everything was good. Hackman's family was always a closely guarded part of his life. His first marriage to Faye Maltese lasted 3 decades from 1956 to 1986, producing 3 children, son Christopher and daughters Elizabeth and Leslie. After his divorce, Hackman found love again, marrying Arakawa in 1991. Maltese later passed away in 2017. Throughout his career, Hackman remained elusive when it came to discussing his private life. In a 1989 interview with film critic John C. Tibbets, he reflected on why audiences connected with him, saying, "I like to keep my personal life fairly common, so that, in my art, one can let go and one can soar." By the time he officially retired from acting in 2004, Hackman had already spent decades as one of Hollywood's most respected actors. In an interview on Larry King Live, he reflected on his transition from struggling actor to household name. When King asked how he handled fame, Hackman admitted, "I didn't handle it very well, really. I took care of my family. My family has never wanted for anything, but because I was so enamored of the Hollywood of old, the glamour of that, although I never involved myself in that, I was really so taken with it. The fact that I was part of that and that I could be anything and anyone I wanted to be." Despite his towering presence in Hollywood, Hackman's children influenced his career decisions in ways many never knew. Speaking to the Irish Independent in August 2000, he revealed that they played a crucial role in his choice to stay in front of the camera rather than shift to directing. At one point, he had acquired the rights to The Silence of the Lambs with the intention of directing it himself. But in the end, he walked away from the project, a decision he never regretted. "I don't have any second thoughts about that decision," he said. "My kids helped me see that it just wasn't the best thing for me to do." Still, being the child of a Hollywood legend came with its challenges. Hackman acknowledged this, saying, "I couldn't always be home with them when they were growing up. And then living in California, they've had my success always hanging over their heads." Gene Hackman and his first wife, Faye Maltese, welcomed their first child, Christopher Allen Hackman, in 1960. As a 2-time Academy Award winner, Hackman had a busy career, but he always made time for his son. In a heartfelt February 1984 interview with journalist Lita Powell Drake, he opened up about their bond while discussing his film Misunderstood. Drake posed a thought-provoking question. Was there ever a moment when Hackman stopped hugging his son, then in his 20s, and instead opted for a handshake? Hackman's response was simple yet profound. No, we still hug to this day, and I thank God that we are able to do that. He continued, reflecting on the emotional weight of physical connection between a father and son. I don't think we'll ever have a point where we have to shake hands. That was a real stretch for me in the film, and one of the coldest things that one can do is not be aware and be insensitive to that need of a child to be wrapped in a father's arms. Years later, in a 2011 GQ interview, Hackman candidly admitted that his hectic filming schedule sometimes made it difficult to be the father he wanted to be. When asked if he had ever given his son advice, his response was bittersweet. I lost touch with my son in terms of advice early on. Maybe it had to do with being gone so much, doing location films when he was at an age where he needed support and guidance. He added, "It was very tough for me to be gone for 3 months and then come home and start bossing him around." Despite the challenges of balancing Hollywood and fatherhood, Hackman still played an influential role in his son's life. In a January 2020 interview with Empire magazine, he shared a special memory about Christopher's early aspirations. "My son thought he wanted to be an actor at one time and was in New York, and I wrote him a couple of little monologues," Hackman revealed. "I guess that's where I started. I really enjoyed it. Ideas would just pop into my head and I would write them down." In August 1962, Hackman and Maltese expanded their family with the birth of their second child, Elizabeth Gene Hackman. Unlike her older brother, Elizabeth remained largely out of the public eye. Hackman rarely spoke about his family in interviews, but he once recalled a challenging period in his career during the 70s and 80s when he found himself struggling financially. "I used to have to borrow my daughter's car to go to interviews in Hollywood," he admitted in a 2000 interview with Cigar Aficionado. "I was just barely hanging in, taking pretty much anything that was offered to me and trying to make it work." Although she stayed out of the limelight, Elizabeth occasionally made public appearances with her father. A childhood photo captured her and her younger sister, Leslie, sitting on Hackman's lap at a celebrity baseball game, with the actor proudly wearing a Los Angeles Dodgers jersey. As she grew older, Elizabeth attended Hollywood events alongside him, including the December 1978 screening of Superman at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., where Hackman famously played the villainous Lex Luthor. Years later, in October 1996, Elizabeth was seen at the Beverly Hills premiere of her father's film The Chamber, accompanied by her sister and stepmother, Betsy Arakawa. Tragically, after Hackman's passing, Elizabeth revealed a shocking suspicion to TMZ, stating that the family believed toxic fumes, such as carbon monoxide, might have played a role in his death. In October 1966, Hackman and Maltese welcomed their third child, Leslie Ann Hackman. Like her siblings, Leslie led a private life, but her bond with her father was undeniable. In a revealing 1984 interview with journalist Bobby Wygant about Misunderstood, Hackman shared how deeply the film resonated with him, not just as an actor but as a father. "They're almost exclusively with me, to my children, in terms of how I worked on it, and in terms of the misunderstandings between the father and the children," he reflected. He then shared a touching moment about Leslie's reaction to the film. "My youngest daughter has seen the film, and she was very affected by it. But I think that she was affected because it was a film, not because I was in it. She liked it as a film, and she recommended it to her girlfriends, and they're going to see a screening of it this week. She was very taken with it, and I hope the older children are too." Leslie and her father were often seen together over the years at various movie premieres. In January 1984, she accompanied Hackman to the 41st Annual Golden Globe Awards. They were also photographed together at the December 1990 premiere of The Godfather Part 3 and the March 1991 premiere of Class Action. Despite his towering presence in Hollywood, Hackman always carried a deep connection with his children. Through moments of struggle and triumph, his love for his family remained constant, a legacy just as significant as his legendary film career. And if you want to keep up with more fascinating stories on this channel, be sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.